All right. Welcome back to Network Effects. Tonight we got special guest, the Flying Dutchman in the building, whom you can't see at the moment. And but you will in just a second. We're going to talk about all the crazy market stuff that's happened. Everything. I mean, everything from maybe real estate to Celsius, Luna, AAVE, different things that are happening right now. And what's a good crypto to invest in? That's something we need to look at. So let's roll the intro and we'll be back. Yeah, buddy. All right. We got the Flying Dutchman in the house.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, Don? How you doing?
Chilling, man. Should I throw a little music on? Like, let's see. Hold on. Since we're going freestyle on this, let's maybe a little music in the background. A little bit of lo-fi. I've been good, man. Dude, it's been Vegas was the last time I saw you, bro.
I know, man. That was a blast, man. The mansion party, the just talking about crypto in general, all those minds alike, and everybody just on the same
Yeah,
page. I loved it. Yeah.
man, it was awesome.
So,
Yeah. So the Flying Dutchman. Obviously, where do you get that name?
well, I mean, I would say I do fly. I'm a pilot. Just for fun, though. I mainly do residential construction and also originally from Holland. So that's part of where the Dutch comes from. And then flying is something I do as a hobby, and I love, getting around. I can pretty much go to Florida when I want to, go to Colorado when I want to, and as well as going to that Las Vegas conference. That was fun. So,
Dude, I regret. First of all, that's awesome, dude, and I regret so badly not being able to. I mean, if I would have stayed one extra day, he was gonna fly me back to my spot, and but I just had to make sure that, and it was gonna be like the next day or possibly the day after that. But so I just had to make sure that I was back on a certain time. So otherwise, and I regret it. I'm kicking myself because he ended up leaving exactly when planned. So next conference, dude, I'm hitching a flight, bro.
let's do it.
Unless the
Yeah,
plane's full.
let's do it. Hey,
So
it's not far
post-com.
away, right? You're Utah, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
That's good, yeah.
exactly. So not far away at all, man. So when you say you're from Holland, are you originally from Holland? Like meaning like born in Holland, or you're just saying
So
Dutch like the blood?
I was born in Holland.
Oh, damn.
Actually, my dad was a captain of a cruise ship, so we were always all over the world. And then, once I had to go to preschool and school, I was actually in Holland for about 4 or 5 years. Moved to Norway for 2 years, and then went to the United States when I was about 9 years old. So
Man.
I've been here. I've been in the United States ever since. I would say I'm pretty Americanized because, when you grow up here from the age of 10, 11, 12 and on, you kind of learn the most of the culture over here. So
Absolutely, man.
I'm definitely Americanized. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got that Dutch blood flowing through me, man.
You did tell me that. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
so we got that, and then and I used to have an office in Amsterdam, so I was over there all the time, man. What part of
Oh,
Holland
shit.
were you in?
The American way of saying is Gouda, and then we say Gouda. So Gouda, like the cheese, like you see everywhere. That's basically where I was born.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's I used to go there every single summer to visit my grandfather, and that was just the town I was from, and now I see it all over the place. Gouda cheese, and
Yeah,
it's a
man.
pretty big pretty big name, I guess.
Very big. Yeah, man. Dude, I miss it. I miss my days over there. Never got to oh gosh, it's way up north. Way up north. It starts with an H. I want to say it's like Hoen, or I have to find out from the
Yeah.
family again. Every time I go over there, I remember it. And then but yeah, I was over there like, man, every couple months for my office I had over there.
Oh, that's awesome. And what did you do over there?
So the business I was running was we were a manufacturer and distributor of analytical chemistry, instrumentation, and consumables, as well as water microbiology products. And so the office that we had over there was it was basically our European arm. So headquarters was out of Northern California, and then had the office there to distribute basically to the rest of Europe as well as the Middle East and stuff like that. I mean, it would, for a number of reasons, it made a lot of sense to basically be able to keep inventory over there and sell out of there, and also be able to employ our Dutch team right there.
Oh, that's so cool,
So,
man. I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that last time.
yeah, I didn't get to tell you that part, man. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so I got pictures of Amsterdam all over the house, man. Like it's in the blood, man. Grandma's 100% Dutch, you know what I mean?
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
so
Amazing.
yeah,
That's
dude.
cool. Hell yeah.
So dude, so before we talk about all this crazy crash, man, why don't you tell me how you got into crypto, like when you got into crypto and things like that.
The way I got into
How you got
crypto
into
was,
Hex too.
yeah, it's a interesting story. At 2017, I heard about it, and I decided to buy one Bitcoin off Coinbase. I didn't get verified yet because I was going through the process of getting a green card. And
Right.
so I was just going about my business, working. I've been, basically hustling for just cleaning vehicles, like detailing cars, working my ass off. At the time, I was actually doing construction. So I basically built myself up to the point where I was owning my own construction company. And,
Oh,
my point is that I worked really hard for money, right? I didn't really get invested too much in stocks or anything like that, but I did buy one Bitcoin for $700. And it was about 4 months later, all of a sudden, I saw $700 turn into $20,000. And I was like, what the is this? Like, this is
yeah.
crazy. And unfortunately, I couldn't pull out because in order to trade it back to, US dollars, you have to verify your identity. I didn't
Right.
have that yet with the green card, and as you're going through the green card process, you can't get a driver license, right?
Right.
So, so I watched it go down back to 3,000, right? And at that point, I got really interested in crypto. Like I was just watching videos, a lot of influencers and watching people do charts and that kind of thing. So that's how I first got into Bitcoin. In fact, when I was selling houses and I was getting pretty, I was getting my business going, I would sell a house and then start buying Bitcoin when I really kind of understood what it was.
Yeah. So you
So
start
that's
stacking the satoshis, man, stacking the
yeah,
sats.
yeah. About 6,000, then the drop. I saw capitulation. Then I bought some, and I remember that first feeling of FOMO when I went from 3,000 to 14, and I was like, shit, I missed the bottom. I mean, I wanted to buy more.
Yeah.
And I remember watching, some of those influencers. Who's that guy? Ray from the Alabama guy.
Is it Mitch Ray?
Mitch Ray, yeah,
Yeah,
Mitch
yeah,
Ray.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And he had the whole moon suit on and everything, and
Yeah.
went to 14,000, and I was like, damn, I felt like I missed the boat, and then shortly after we had that crash down back to 4,000, and luckily I had some money again, and I bought more. So I had a decent bag of Bitcoins then, and I was ready to go for the bull market, and
Yeah, man.
that was my first kind of intro to crypto.
So you don't really have a big story. Well, you kind of do have a story of how you got burned by basically not having the driver's license and things like that. But
Well, I have multiple stories about getting burned. That was the first. Luckily, I had that second chance to accumulate, but I really got burned when I actually started trading. So
yeah.
I was like, I've accumulated some Bitcoin. This is really like interesting, and then I was like counting my money. I was like, okay, well, I have X amount of Bitcoins. This is pretty cool. And then I watched that next bull market go up. So those numbers started increasing, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? When it crosses $20,000, it's gonna retest like it should, and
Right.
I'm gonna sell, and I'm gonna buy back in to get 25% more Bitcoin.
Of course, right? Of course.
Like that's obvious, right? You want to
It's a
make more money,
no-brainer.
don't you?
Free money, dude.
I mean,
Of course it's gonna
upsides
retest.
The upsides are amazing. Like within 3 days, you can just accumulate 25% more Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So what's the worst that can happen? Well, it shot through 20,000 and never did a retest. And I had to go through the experience of saying, you know what? Do I buy back in now or forever lose the chance to basically regain what I accumulated?
Yeah.
So within, I would say about 2 days, I lost about 25% of my holdings. And I actually started to dive into trading. And I don't regret it, but I learned a lot, but I also got burned even more later on. And that's, that actually eventually is what brought me to Hex.
So do you still trade?
I don't still trade.
Well, we got 2 viewers in the house, by the way. Ooh, down to 1. Hey, it's all right. This was unscheduled, so if they comment, I'll shout out their comments.
Yeah,
so
sure.
keep going.
So actually, what they do say is that everybody's a genius in a bull market, but I was able to really like accumulate more Bitcoins through that bull market. I mean, I learned a few things about trigger waves, about bullish divergence, and actually I was pretty good at drawing out charts. So I would draw the charts, and then when a breakout happened, I can actually capitalize on that. So I don't really want to speak that many numbers as far as how much it was, but
that's fair.
Whenever, basically how I ended up kind of getting, I would say, wrecked was getting a little bit too confident, and to the point where I think I had a few beers in Puerto Rico and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to put in this $1 million trade. Let's go.
Abandon your strategy.
Yeah, just
but a straight up $1 million trade. You just put up $1 million trade right there.
$1 million trade. I was like, let's I was like, let's go. So, and you also get swayed by influencers, and everybody's saying, yeah, it's going to go to 75,000.
Oh, of course.
You're like, you're feeling the emotions. You're like, oh yeah, it's I don't want to miss out on this humongous trade. And I mean, it went down, and it went down 50% in the bull market, which was truthfully the top of the bull market. And I couldn't believe it, because I thought we were going to 100, 110, 120,000. So that's I got
what I was told too.
Yep.
That's what I mean. And you really start to learn to not listen to the influencers, right? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, they all have their own agendas, and also, man, none of these guys got crystal balls. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's so you got wrecked. You got wrecked there in Puerto Rico, abandoned the strategy, $1 million trade on the line, and then something took you to Richard Hart and Hex.
So at that point, I actually had a little bit of Hex. I had about, when you start making all this money, you kind of throw a few things. I definitely put some in ADA, made a lot of money in Cardano.
Yeah.
It's something that I couldn't trade at the time, so I didn't get wrecked in it. But I put some in Hex because I saw this Richard Hart video, and he was kind of like bashing on people, and I thought it was interesting, but it didn't really vibe with me. I was like, all right, cool. Like, Hex, he's pretty much like proud about his product. Let me put a little money in.
Yeah.
And 4 months later, I did like an 8x from that point. So my like $2,000 was like $16,000.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, this is actually the real deal. But I really got interested in Hex when I started listening to Richard Hart and all the wisdom he had to talk about when it came down to like not trading and just all the knowledge he has about crypto and business and life in general. I was like, and so the time I got liquidated, luckily I was up on my money, but I was obviously lost a lot of coins. So I had to, what I didn't bring up was, in the meantime, I was partying, I was going out, I was going to Miami, I was popping bottles, I was paying for stuff. I never I was like, $2,000, $3,000, here you go, no problem. This is what I make while I sleep,
Exactly. Yeah, so you worked for it.
Yeah, I worked for it, but it all happened a little bit fast,
Yeah, that fast money, sudden wealth.
Fast money, so, easy come, easy go. And when I got liquidated, I said, I pulled my money out, and I went back into real estate investing. But Richard came out with the sacrifice, and I said, after I looked at all his videos, I said, I'm going in 100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was about a year ago, right around this time, I think, the sacrifice coming up, right?
Right.
It either happened already, or was it May or was it June?
So it was in July that the sacrifice was happening, right? But he announced it back in, I think, March or April, something like that. I think April or May. He
Yeah.
said it was going to be. He said there was going to be a sacrifice. So
Because that's when I found Richard. I found Richard watching a BitBoy video, watching the traditional influencers, and he had spoken about the Mount Gox hack, which like spoke directly to that pain that I had, because I bought Bitcoin back in 2013 at 95 a piece, and they still have locked up the ones that I had on the Mount Gox exchange, and I was supposed to get them back, but we'll see. But anyway, so I kind of had the same thing in the sense that got wrecked but in a way, kind of like the way Hex works. Mount Gox almost saved me, and I'm going to do a video on that, in the sense that they locked my coins up and saved me from myself. So I'm going to get Bitcoins back later. Hopefully they're worth something decent, but they're certainly worth more than the 1,000, 2,000 that I was selling them for, thinking I was a genius selling them on the 3x. You know what I mean?
Richard Hart said you're going to get those back pretty much, right? When you asked him that question at the conference.
Yeah, he said we should. And I've also heard him say on different streams, though, that he thinks that the dude that stole him, Mark Karpelis, might end up with him also. So I don't know, but I mean, I believe what he told me to my face, because that was an earlier stream, and so he keeps up on this stuff. So I keep getting these letters from Japanese court that will keep us abreast of the announcements. It's like half of it's Japanese, then the other half is English. But so we'll see. That hasn't happened. They've released some of them, but not to me yet. So.
And it's hard. It's hard. Like it's like you look at these prices going up. You're like, oh man, I would have gotten this much money, but like, how would you know when to pull out?
Exactly.
I mean, buying, yeah, no problem. Boom, boom, boom. You got the money, you buy it. But now, like, when do you pull out? Are you going to watch for another bear market, and then your money goes down 90%?
Exactly.
And brag about what you had. I mean, it's like, dude, you gotta look at everything, because if I didn't get liquidated, I have Bitcoin and Ethereum, and in fact, 80% of it I switched to Ethereum. So with Ethereum now, it's like if I didn't trade and I had 3-digit Ethereums, and then now it would have gone back down to less than what I had if I didn't trade or traded, right? So it's just like making those decisions. You have to have some kind of a game plan on what you're going to do.
Agreed.
But
and plus you have to have just some knowledge that you can only get from listening to the right people. Because, for example, I mean, look at all these people right now. Like, I mean, getting to kind of some of the topics that I put on there, like people that had money in Celsius, right, looking for yield, and they're doing the right thing. Like Hex is a project that produces yield, right? Our T-shares give us yield. They were looking for yield, so they got into Celsius. They got into Luna. You know what I mean? I mean, AAVE. I mean, I'm seeing issues with the AAVE now. Like, what was the thing that I just saw? Like, let's see.
AAVE too?
It says Maker cuts off AAVE's dye supply as fallout from Celsius continues. This was 3 hours ago.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and because I know 3 Arrows, like 3 Arrows Capital, they're going through a bunch of stuff as well. Like, they're so close to being completely liquidated. And Richard has forever been calling Machinsky a scammer. You know what I mean? The dude from Celsius. And yet he's just been pushed down, shooed away, like just not allowed on the certain shows that Machinsky's allowed on, And now, dude, they're and it turns out that what they've done with, just so for people that are watching that don't know, that for people that watch this that don't know, people basically had their money on a centralized exchange, Celsius. They could also hold the Cell token, and right now they're no withdrawals are allowed. So as things are crashing, and if they have loans taken out, like, I don't know if you heard about this thing from BitBoy, what BitBoy posted, but they're asking BitBoy, like, they have loans that they owe money on, otherwise, like, they get wiped out. And they have enough money in other cryptos in there to be able to cover it, but they're not allowing them to use the money inside their account to cover it, even though they're not trying to withdraw it. They're just being like, yo, take the money from there and cover that. And they're like, no, you got to send us new money. Like, you got to send us new money in to be able to cover these, And I mean, I'm just like, dude, like, that's brutal, And I don't know how big his position was in there, but it sounds like he either filed or has started the process of filing a lawsuit today.
Yeah, lawsuit. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a lot of people kind of relate that to BitConnect back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's why after see, and that's a good thing about getting burned or getting wrecked. It's you have an opportunity to say, hey, I need to tighten up. I need to research. I need to look into this.
Yep.
And a lot of people are getting swayed by the emotions of, oh, you know, this is the right place to be in and that kind of thing. But when you really get burned, you go, wait a second, how can I never get burned again? And then you again have Richard saying, not your keys, not your coins. And what does
Right.
that mean? What does that mean? That means nobody, if you've had your password, nobody has ever hacked into your wallet because, right? I mean, pretty much,
Right.
like, unless somebody can guess your password, then go to 24 seed phrases and make sure nobody ever finds it. Nobody can take it.
Right.
It's not
Exactly.
something that, yeah. So, you know, and that's what it's unfortunate and it's painful. And these situations, it's a lot of people are going through pain. And luckily I don't have a family, you know, I didn't have people dependent on me. But what if I know a lot of people that do, and what about that
Absolutely.
situation, you know? And it's yeah, it's
Dude, and that's
very
the
unfortunate.
thing that's happening right now. I mean, man, like it was the other day on Reddit. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. But I was talking to one of my doctor buddies because you know, one of the things I do as a passion is I'm an interventionist and also have a business that does sober companions with people that are struggling. Anyway, so I focus on a lot of mental health topics, and right now with just any type of recession or any issue like that, mental health is crazy. Mental health is crazy anyway, but
Mhm.
like the crypto crash as well as the suicide hotline were basically trending at the same time on Reddit. And it's like, I mean, there's people that over the Luna thing off themselves. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I should be careful, I guess, with what I say on YouTube, but basically deleted
Yeah.
themselves. And
Mhm.
you know, like I mean, it's real stuff, man. And you got
Yeah.
people that especially with like I mean, with these centralized exchanges like a Celsius or with Luna, not that it was a. I mean, it was centralized in a way, but it was, you know, the way the protocol worked and the way they were looking for all the. I mean, that was maybe a little bit greedy in terms of the yield they were looking for, but it's like these are people that, you know, might not have learned that lesson. They just think cryptos that it's all safe, and they naturally, just like when you threw that $1 million trade on the line, you know,
Mhm.
they say, hey babe, we can change our life. We can literally change our life. We can change life for the kids. We can put them in a private school. We can do whatever we want, and this is all we got to do. Babe, you okay with that? Yeah babe, I'm okay with that. And then next thing you know, dude, something like this happens, and
Mhm.
what happens when the mortgage comes due? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If they have no liquid.
Well, I mean, people make irrational decisions, and that's what that taught me as well. You start making irrational decisions. You look at those numbers, you're like, oh my God, I got $2.5 million.
Right.
You know? Oh, guess what? Excuse me, Mr. Boss, I'm not gonna work anymore. I'm good.
Yes.
You know? And then it's like, and then hey, I'm just gonna travel for 2 months, and you come back and you can't access your account. You know,
Exactly.
it's
And you
it's
hear these stories, man. These are
mhm.
real stories that people just. I swear that they hear them, but then they just think, oh, you know what? It's not going to happen to
It
me
can't
though.
happen to me. No,
It
it
happened to
can't
me.
happen to me. No way.
Exactly. Like, you know what? No,
No
I've
way.
I've done everything. Like, I've given them my driver's license. I've given them like everything. They know where I live. Like,
Mhm.
and then something like this happens. And I mean, now I mean, hearing that about AAVE and Die, I mean, it's just like it just blows my mind, man. Because I mean, like with crypto going down and the fact that people are taking loans on their crypto, especially, like I mean, they're going to get liquidated just by, especially when they're locked up and they can't do anything about it anyway. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just going to be liquidation unless they have a lot of cash to throw at it to pay off their loan. But again, that's why would you throw cash at something that you can't even get your current money out of? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. I mean, so again, what my situation taught me is that, and I was using really low, um, what do you call it, the multiplier, right? I was
Yeah.
using really low leverage.
Leverage. Yeah.
I was using low leverage. I'm talking about like zero point 0.5.
Oh
I
wow.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So it wasn't even like a 10x or 9. My liquidation price was at like, you know, from 60 entry or 55 entry was like 29, 28. But even then, the markets can be extremely irrational.
Yeah.
And and the markets, it's not just like people and price. There's something behind there that's trying to dive into liquidation pools and liquidation areas. They'll know where to go to scare people, to make people sell. And you have to take that into account, that you can't go into this game like trading or not doing your homework and that kind of thing. It comes at, you know, getting rich comes with like some kind of a game plan, and just being able to hold your coins and don't touch them and don't do it and hold the right ones. It's like, that's what you have to do. It's really simple, you know.
It is. And such as in Hex, get paid, and I guess with Pulse Chain, I mean, and get paid while doing it in terms of yield, right? I mean, and that's the best part about Hex is literally like I said, I'm about to get like a rush of Bitcoins coming in any day now, supposedly. I mean, they said July, they said August. I've heard different dates from Mt. Gox, but that'll be like, oh wow, thank you guys, like thank you. My Bitcoins were worth hundreds. At first I heard they were going to pay us out in the amount of dollars that it was, and I was like, oh hell no, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I want my coins. But then I heard we're getting our coins. But like you said, just buy the right coins and hold them. I mean, that's a harder concept than, I mean, it sounds so easy. You really need to do three things to get rich in crypto: buy low, sell high, and hold during the volatility. However, that is so hard for people to do. And so one of the reasons why I like Hex, and if there's anyone that ends up finding this video from some of the other tickers that I put in there on the hashtags, and that I will edit afterwards, one of the cool things about Hex is, first of all, the coins, you own your coins. They're in your own wallet, right? Like, this is not a centralized exchange. You don't need to give them to any centralized body. You literally stake them on the protocol. When you stake your coins, they burn and they're technically out of existence. And then when your stake comes due, you're able to remint your principal as well as remint the yield that you were able to earn. So there's so many cool issues. And so sure, there can be price volatility, and people that bought at 40 cents or 50 cents, you know, that when seeing the price right now, they can certainly be like, well, yeah, you can still get wrecked without it. However, I mean, if they have some stakes that are sitting out there years and they can't touch it, then hey, you're not, it's unrealized, it's unrecognized. You haven't recognized those losses yet.
It doesn't matter. You're still making the same hex per day.
Exactly.
And so if you can't make that decision anyway to, you know, sell, that panic button to sell or not sell, you can't get liquidated. You cannot get liquidated. So you don't have to worry about that. The price can go to 0.0001 and then go back up. Doesn't matter. But, you know, the thing is that with Hex, the price is held up by other people staking millions and millions and millions. What is it? Maybe, I forgot what the number is for how many people are, or how much money is being staked, but I think it's like, you know, it's so much money that the price is only going down based off, you know, the weaker hands that are selling.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and it's low liquidity pools, so the price can be changed pretty easily currently. And so just, you kind of let the weak hands keep selling and let the market play out. And then, you know, if you're staking, you make a yield, so it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. And it redistributes the wealth of the coins, and ideally they go into more wallets, and it becomes even more decentralized, right? Like there are more holders, fewer people that can change the price extremely easily. You know, some of these whales dump. I mean, I understand that if people are holding their coins liquid and they need that money, that's why you should never invest what you're not willing to lose. However, you know, if you're staked, you're good. But when that happens, we know that Hex and especially with Pulse Chain coming, this is a project that's going to be around the next bull market, and a lot of altcoins, a lot of non-Bitcoin, non-Ethereum coins, I should say, don't make it, you know, to the next run. They just die completely. That's one of the things that we know is it's going to be around. And you think it's not going to hit its all-time high again? I mean, in my experience, it's going to not only hit its all-time high, but it's going to exceed that. And so, you know, as long as you're earning yield, and that continues to happen over years and years and years when you have a solid community, and that's not even touching on Pulse Chain yet, man. So like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a whole nother ball game. But the yield is really interesting. And for any, if I can show just the calculator here for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
You want to share
for
your
those,
screen?
I'll do. I don't know if you can
Okay,
see
yeah.
my phone, right?
Just do it old school. Yeah.
So let's say you know, you should be thinking long term, right? Everybody who wants to make quick money tomorrow, when is a Lambo coming, that kind of thing, you're gonna allow yourself to get wrecked.
Yep.
So you gotta look at long term, and let's say $5,000. Right, that's within reach for most people. The thing with Hex is that it multiplies your money when you go
Right.
over 10 years, right? So let's say you have that $5,000, right?
Right.
5,000. Now your purchasing power is times 3, so you're really working with 15.
Right.
And let's say your yield is 1.43, which is basically saying 43% a year, right? So your first year, your account's going to look like that. Second year, third year, fourth year, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, or 15. Last one was 3.2 million.
Yeah, exactly.
So all $5,000 by being patient and holding. And that's if the price stays at 3 cents.
Right. If it just stays.
Now, if it goes to 30 cents in 15 years, you multiply that times 10, and you have 45 million.
Yeah. See that?
Now,
it's ridiculous.
You know what I mean? So even if you don't like Hex, whatever it is, and you got 5,000 laying around, it's like, dude, why wouldn't you just do that, man? Just
exactly.
stay for 15 years and then just forget about it. You know what I mean?
100%. And the thing is, like, there might be people that say they don't like Hex. However, my argument to people is, how can you not like a protocol that's had 100% uptime and is immutable code and is proven to be essentially flawless? It does exactly what it says it's going to do. What we do here is people that might say, oh, I don't like Richard Hart. And the thing is, listen, what does Richard Hart have to do with Hex other than the fact that he founded it, right? I mean, sure, there are debates on who the OA is. I mean, is it an African priest? Is it someone that Richard knows? Is it who know? We don't know, right? But however, this is immutable code. I mean, I like Richard personally, but you know, for anyone that has those arguments that think he's too flashy or too this or too that, it's like, man, he created a product. There are a lot of entrepreneurs that do far more crazy things than twerking on Twitter, right? You know what I mean? Or twerking on Instagram. And this is immutable code. There can be some wild CEO that can go back and tank their business. They can go Elon Musk can right now go fire all the Tesla employees, do something crazy and go on a bender and do something wild, and the company's tanked, right? Like none of this stuff that Richard does changes Hex.
According to that logic, would people invest in a company where they like the founder, but the product is horrible? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Good point.
They're not really related.
They're not related at all.
You know, so it's like, if the MacBook is good, you don't like Steve Jobs,
right?
Then the MacBook is awesome. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not trying to advertise, you know, Apple or nothing like that, but
right, of course,
I do like my MacBooks. You know
absolutely. Hey, that's all I use, man.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I had all kinds of Microsoft, like I had Sony, I had Alienware, and then MacBook. I was like, dude, this thing is indestructible, you know?
Yeah.
And didn't care. Like, if I don't like Steve Jobs, doesn't matter. I'm going to use a MacBook. But what you're saying is that this software that Hex is extremely, extremely well put together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's unchangeable. Like, it is immutable code. It's going to be there as long as the blockchain exists. And let's say there's an issue with I mean, well, let's not even go to parade of imaginary horribles with something happening to ETH with the beacon chain or the merge or whatever, because I mean, we're about to have a brand new layer 1 in our ecosystem, man. And like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what are your thoughts on Pulse Chain? As far as, obviously, I saw with your calculator how bullish you are on Hex and how just the math makes sense if the price just stays the same if you stake. So what are your thoughts on Pulse Chain? Like, thoughts on it overall? You could do predictions, whatever.
You know, as Richard was saying about the EVM and everything else, this I believe Pulse Chain is going to be a better version of Ethereum.
Yeah.
Ethereum is very popular. I mean, I believe it grew because people were building on it. You know, NFTs came, and there's a lot of things you can do with Ethereum. It just got clogged up by the amount of people traffic and everything like that. So what you're basically doing here is like you can see a highway full of cars, and people get into work and they can't get there in time, or cost a lot of money. The gases are like, you know, $40 a gallon or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden Richard Hart is building this thing right next to it that's at least 4 times wider.
Right.
The speed limit is faster.
Right.
And you get your favorite gas stations like right along the road, and your favorite stores.
Yeah, and they're cheaper.
Right? Yeah. And it's like, dude, this opportunity is building right next to it. And it's your chance now to get in early or choose to ignore it.
Right.
I mean, and I went as much in as I could. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to hold back. If I'm like brave enough to go do $1 million trade, then I'm definitely like, once my head is sober and I'm like able to think thoroughly, I'm gonna be like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go with this.
Absolutely, man. See, and it's crazy because I went big on Pulse. I didn't go as big as I could, and which is why I went and made like 4 different Pulse sacrifices and murdered myself by doing it, because I hadn't really fully studied the days and like which days. So some days I got like, you know, 5,000 points instead of 10,000 points, you know, but then other days I did get bonus points, and it all ended up working out to where I'm pleased with what it is. But however, when Pulse X came out, then I was like, oh man, I'm glad I didn't go too crazy on. Well, it's not that I'm glad, because I still had regret, but I was like, oh wow, here's another opportunity to at least get inside the ecosystem. And so I went quite a bit bigger in Pulse X than I did in Pulse. And I still wish I went bigger in both of them. But you went bigger in Pulse X also?
Oh yeah. Well, luckily I was, you know, I was able to sell a house in between that.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going bigger, you know. And then when you go bigger, you get the bonus multiplier, which again is a genius way that Richard Hart is bringing more money and more people into the ecosystem. The fact that he raised $1 billion, you know, and that's money people could have used to sell. They didn't have to donate that. They didn't have to sacrifice that. Right. They could have gone to, you know, MetaMask or any kind of Uniswap, and then, you know, got US dollars back, and then went and take a vacation. And people instead put their money in there. And that says a lot. So Pulse X did $1 billion, and then Pulse Chain was like 600 or 700 million.
Yeah.
And I went bigger with Pulse X, and I was able to take advantage of the bonus multiplier, and, you know.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited about it coming out, but I'm doing my thing. I'm working. I'm not sitting there behind the computer waiting every single day for 8 hours a day. You know, it's just people are getting frustrated. Man. Like, nah, man, you gotta have your own life, man. You gotta have a project of your own. And
this is good advice. Keep going.
Don't lean on to the Pulse X project as your only project that exists, because once that's over with and it launched, then what? You're just counting money? I mean, that's not creative. That's not fun. You know, it's short-term fun, but afterwards you kind of feel empty. You know, you want to have your own life.
You want to have passion and purpose, man. Mm-hmm. And with money, like there's like, I mean, like it's hard to have passion or purpose for money, right? Like money is the result of, I think, a passion executed properly, or a purpose done benevolently. Like I was told by a mentor, money must never be the objective, but a consequence of good action. Now I know in crypto, money is often the objective, but in terms of life, the money that we get to sacrifice for things like that, I mean, it's usually us doing something that is good. We're doing good deeds, right? I mean, unless we're robbing banks or whatever, however people are getting their money. But, you know, I'm doing things that I feel make a change in the world. And then, you know, I'm willing to sacrifice that money, which I did. And, you know, and it's, for some people, it's truly been a sacrifice in the sense that they are hurting right now with how long it's taken. You know what I mean? And the fact that they heard mid-May, and they and they're, you know, they're extremely upset about that. But the thing is this, you know, like the more it hurts, the more of a sacrifice it is. But if this is true, there are different conspiracy theories out right now, right? Or I should say theories, but people think, hey, it still just needs to be perfected. And now maybe what Richard's doing is he's taking the time to do a lot of the things that he planned on doing later while the chain was out. And given the fact that it's a bear market, now he's fine tuning them and saying, hey, I might as well do these now. There's other people that say, oh no, the core thing isn't even done yet. However, regardless, what I hope happens is that we launch as close to the bottom of the bear as possible, because if that happens, man, that is buying the dip for all of us.
Yeah, I think the logic behind that is that our assets and our numbers are frozen.
Right.
And we want the highest amount of X as possible. So if you would have launched that at the top of the bull market, most likely as soon as it got launched, everybody will be taking out the liquidity.
Exactly.
So you want that to be at the bottom when everybody goes, oh shit, I think the smoke, is settling. I think the what do you call it? Everything's kind of settled down.
Yeah, the smoke
all
is
the
settled.
bloodshed is gone. Let's start putting money back into it, and then you can start raising with the tide instead of falling down the waterfall.
Dude, well put, man. Because a rising tide lifts all ships. You know what I mean? And that's a fact. And so when Bitcoin hits its bottom, if it hits that 10K mark or that 11K mark, like Richard's saying, with Ethereum hitting, I mean, gosh, what do you think the target is on Ethereum? $400? I mean,
my targets based off my charts are like between 6 and 200. So between 600 and 200.
Okay, yeah. So right in that. So those are the outer edges of that range. So because, man. I mean,
because it's the market makers want to bring it back there, because they artificially pump the price with order books and liquidity, and they pump it up by selling a whole bunch, and then it gets people to buy in, and then it goes up for a while, traps a lot of liquidity, and then shorts the whole market back down. I'll say 6 to 400, which is pretty cool. You get to buy back in. If you want Ethereum, it's affordable,
Finally, it's affordable. Although, with all the NFT projects on the network, it still might not be the most affordable to transact on. It'll be more affordable, but Pulse Chain, on the other hand, we're going to have that full system state copy of all of the coins that people have in their Ethereum wallet on the Pulse Chain. And the best part is, all you NFT holders, whether you like it or not, or all you NFT projects, all you crypto projects, anyone that's got a smart contract out there, whether you like it or not, it's going to be copied onto the Pulse Chain. My bet is that you will like it in time. Like, you will like it in time. You'll be glad that it happened, because you will simply have options of where you want to point your energy as either a user or a founder of like you said, your favorite stores. You can decide to have your employees move from the Ethereum stores to the Pulse Chain stores, with the road that has better roads, better etc. And
well, I mean, right now people with the high gas prices.
Balliot Brand, what's up? Hold on, Balliot just said, what's up? What's happening?
What's up, Balliot? How you doing? Do you think people are going to want to drive more with the gas prices going up? No. So there's people out there with NFTs and they want to trade, and when they realize how cheap it is on Pulse Chain, that it's going to be 0.01 cents. It's going to be so cheap initially that it's going to drive a lot of people to Pulse Chain, and that's what we that's what we believe in, and that's what when that technology comes out and the advertising is there, it's pretty much bound to happen, in my opinion.
I think so too. So listen to this. I have a guy that I had on this. Well, I won't give up too much information about who he is. I'll say this. I have a guy who I posted this on Twitter today. He's a developer, and he or I shouldn't say he's a dev. He is a dev. He's not a coder, but he's a program designer. He's a program designer, right? And in the crypto space, and he's developing some really cool stuff on the ETH chain, some really cool AI stuff. Anyway, he got in the sacrifice. He didn't go big in it, but he made me a bet today that just a friendly $100 bet. He says, I bet that within 6 months of Pulse Chain launch, and I'll even give you till Pulse Chain launches. He goes, I bet within 6 months I won't be able to get my $100 back into US dollars. He goes, I bet I bet the price won't be there, and or the bridge won't be there to be able to get that money back. Dude, tell me that's not the biggest free money, the most free money bet I've ever made.
I mean, do it. I mean,
I already took it.
You gotta love the.
I took the bet. My point is, like,
course.
but here's the interesting thing. I talked about it in some different chat rooms in the community, and people said, "Hey, you know what? He could be right." Like, and I guess maybe it depends on when Pulse Chain launches, but you know, the 6-month range, like, I'm like, you think Pulse Chain might go below sacrifice prices? People said, yeah, I think it could dip, and I just don't see it. I just don't see that happening. Do you? I mean, there's so many people on the sidelines that are like salivating for Pulse. They're like, oh man, I wish I got into Pulse.
You're gonna have people that want to sell, of course.
Naturally,
but,
right.
There's a few things. One, there's the bonus multiplier effect, which brings which basically brings their value. I mean, the entry point even lower. So if you got a 1.75, then your entry point is here. So there's nobody people won't be able to touch that. Not only that, you're gonna have big time people with a lot of USDC looking to buy dips.
Exactly.
And those are whales coming to buy dips. They're not gonna allow that price to go that low, in my opinion. So I don't think that's gonna happen.
I agree. And I also think that with everything that's happened, like with the Luna that's happened, with the Celsius thing that's happening, if this stuff with Maker and AAVE is happening as well, then I think that it's going to, I think that if people are smart, those that aren't like completely wrecked, or even if they are wrecked, but they still working a job, they're still bringing in money, I think that they will hopefully, you know, find a way to find this community, find Richard, find Balliet Brand, find this channel, find any other channel, and learn about what else is going on, because like they can learn, like, wow, I don't need to have a centralized entity holding my coins. A lot of people don't know that. Most people in crypto don't know that.
I want to just bring that back real quick, if I can interrupt you, on the
go ahead.
Fact that this investment that crypto is not just for money. And the reason why I do it, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love money, what it represents and what it can do, but you're also putting something into freedom of speech and movements, meaning that nobody can take that away from you. And when I put money in there, into crypto, no government can come in and take it. You know, if I have a bank, they can just subpoena something and take over and freeze it for whatever reason that they choose. They can't do that with crypto.
They can't.
That's why I put my money into crypto, is to say you can't touch this. And if you look at the history,
actually own.
Look at the history of governments. Do you trust them? But all your heart? Nope.
Nope. How can you, man? I mean, and just with the crazy printing of money. I mean, it's you know, I mean, the dollar is what did they say? It was, inflation was like 10%, you know, so the dollar is already worth, like, if you've held it for the last year, then it's basically worth 90 cents in purchasing power, you know, and if that, you continue to do that year after year after year, your dollar's worth nothing. Meanwhile, you got it in something like Hex, or, you know, where you're at least earning yield. I mean, it makes it very hard for that thing to be gone. Well, first of all, inflation's capped. And second of all, you're earning yield. But back to your point, something that you actually own, you know, and one of the things that Michael Saylor says about Bitcoin, which is one of the things I like really vibe with him on, is how he talks about it's real property. Like it's something that you can actually own. Like it's one of the few things you can actually say that you own that can't be taken from you, as long as no one gets those seed phrases. As long as, I mean, you have to be tortured to get the seed phrase. You know what I mean?
Even like he said, even like Michael Saylor said, even real estate, they can increase the taxes on your real estate. Yeah. So you could own, you know, $1 billion worth of real estate, and all of a sudden they say, oh, you know what, 20% a year of that value. Yeah. They can make the rule, and all of a sudden you're screwed. You know,
dude, they can say eminent domain. They can say, hey, you know what? We're this is a cool hotel you have, or a cool development you have, but we need to widen this freeway. So you know, we're gonna, by the way, we're gonna take this, we're gonna bulldoze your home, and you know, here's what we want to pay you for it. You don't like it? Okay, you can go against us in court and try to negotiate a better amount.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Let's hope you win. You know what I mean? Like it's but crypto, man, it's I like that you brought that up, because I was doing a stream the other day. I haven't been doing as much on this channel. I've been going on other people's channels a lot because I'm doing this as a hobby. Like the goal isn't to grow my channel huge. It's to interact with people. And I was on 2 shows on Saturday, and the first one was on Jen Hex's stream. And 2 weeks ago on that stream, they had a branding expert on, and that's kind of a separate conversation. But he was bringing up how he doesn't believe that the outrage marketing works in terms of like the twerking, the flexing, the stuff like that. That's just his own opinion. He's a German dude that is done branding for Mercedes and things like that. But he said one of the things that I think really does work is what Richard really launched these Pulse Chain and Pulse X about, which were the fact that they had to do with freedom. And he's like, I think that's why he got such big sacrifices. Not only did people want money, but people actually truly bought into those causes. And I know I certainly did. I mean, I donated to the Sense Foundation strictly out the fact that I believe in medical research, and I liked the point he was making. And plus, I mean, a tax break's not bad, but I didn't even think about that point. In fact, I got fewer coins for it. But it's you know, it's freedom, man. Like we actually have freedom with crypto.
Yep. Yeah, and that's you know, that's whether the twerking thing works or not, I don't know. I do know that when it gets more attention, and then people talk about it, and then he copies and pastes something else that's super relevant and that murders him. And it's like, it's almost like it's being like, oh, look at that guy, that doesn't work. It's like, really? You know what does work? Copy and paste, boom, here it does. And like, you're forced to read it because now you engaged in it.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, that's, you know, there is no perfect marketing. You could be BMW, Mercedes, and then this and that. But, you know, I mean, the guys thought about it, and, you know, I think it is working, in my opinion.
I do too.
Know? And so you have all these other things falling down, and the biggest competitors for Hex, I believe, was Luna and Celsius.
Yep.
Because you were getting yield for those. Those are now down, and it's basically it's like, you know, I feel like people are going to be washing up to the shores of Hex, and they're going to say, hey, this is the real deal. And some of them won't. They're going to be hard-headed. They're going to be, nope, I don't like him. I don't like this. I don't like that. Or a lot of people block themselves from success. They say, crypto is not for me anymore, and they walk away. I mean, it happens, you know?
You're so right. I mean, I did that after either 2014 or 2015 when my Mt. Gox coins got locked up, and I was like, man, forget that. Like, my crypto can just be taken from me. I didn't think that. I didn't know about being able to hold my own custody of my coins. And I thought that's what I was doing by going to Mt. Gox instead of having them on Coinbase. You know, I thought I was transferring to somewhere where I could hold it. So I was just like, oh man, that was fun. But and turns out it saved me because of the fact that these last several years I've been saved from myself from selling them. And now you're telling me there's a protocol, Hex, that has that built into it, that I can literally save myself from myself. It's like I'm finding myself doing it regularly. I'm putting in limit orders right now as the price dips. You know, I'm putting in limit orders and I'm catching that price, and I'm holding it, and I'm like, oh man, we could go through we could hit a crazy rally, and this could be awesome. And I'm like, you know what, dude, hold on. I'm just gonna stake this. I'm just gonna add this to my ladder. I'm just gonna make even more paydays in my ladder, because it's like, dude, I have the confidence now to do it, but will I have the confidence? What happens if I end up needing money in a little bit, and I have to touch it? Well, dude, I don't want to have to do that. I want to force myself to grind to be able to do whatever I have to do to get money, rather than tap into like my future. You know what I mean? Like so it's unfortunately I'm in a good financial position, but who knows what can happen to any of us, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, so I just stake it and forget it, you know?
Yeah. You need to have, like I said, we talked about, you got to have different projects. You got to stay hungry. And when you are looking at your bank account and it's going down, you know, and it's like, sure, you can look at your stakes and how rich you're going to be, but when you have something else to kind of start continue to make you hungry, so you can continue to get out there and and in the real world and kind of work on projects. For me, it's construction. For me, it's building a team. Not to say that money is the only motivation. If I have, $100 million in the bank right now, I would still say, you know what? I have a little insight of what money can do. And a lot of people have this idea that money is going to fix all their problems. Everybody's going to love you, like all of a sudden, if they aren't before. All the objects, the Lambos and all that kind of stuff is going to make you happy. And even though that excitement is going to be there initially, after a while you kind of stabilize and then you're back where you were. So
you're so right.
You want to, that's not to deviate people away from money. Money could be used really, really well. You just want to,
it's a tool.
Don't get overly excited about it, and then when you get it, it's a tool, and then you can use it the way you want, So, like I said, it's I feel like there's people who waited behind a computer screen for 3 years for getting rich, and then they get it and they're like, oh shit, where's everybody I know? Everybody's gone,
Exactly.
So you want to just stay safe, think about what you're doing. Don't stake 100% of your money. Stake whatever you can afford to keep away for that long.
Right.
And even if it's that far away, then you just, you're making enough money somewhere else, and that kind of thing. So that's definitely.
Exactly. And I think that. Go ahead. No, keep.
It's still a strategy. No matter what, it's a strategy. You have to know what you're doing, and you're taking accountability for your own finances, which is a good thing,
Exactly, man. And I think that, everything you said is beautiful and fat. Let's give it a shout out on that. Like, that's good stuff, man. Make sure that you have a project, make sure you have something going, take accountability for your own finances, have a strategy. And that's all stuff that's incredibly important. And I say with people that have these stakes, like I think that anyone that's in the Hex ecosystem at this point, I think that especially if they came here through logic and not just, on boards it took logic as well, but if they just bought randomly, I think that anyone that understands what this whole mechanism is has so much more capability than they might even believe in themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, Hex is almost an IQ test, and I know that it's been used before, but it really is. And, as having ran businesses before, large businesses, where you're hiring, you want to hire the right people who can think the right way, who can be problem solvers. I think that people that use Hex it shows that they've found Hex as like a tool to solve certain problems in their life. And
right. And some people can't relate to that, so they don't really see Hex. Right. They don't want to dive into it because they just have that block. But that's what's so exciting about Pulse Chain and Pulse X. It's something that people can relate to more, which is why you get so many wallets that sacrifice for this. And it's going to be so interesting to see what's going to happen.
Dude, it's going to be
incredible. When this thing launches, it's going to be just, and just the mechanics of it. Pulse X, the way it's buy and burn, the way you can stake and get a token that you can also sell. So people are incentivized. Like, I feel like I'm going to be like, I don't want to sell my Pulse X. I want to keep it,
Exactly.
I want to look at it and be like, hey, I want to try to grow it. Not something that's like, oh shit, when is it going to drop? When is it going to go crash and go to zero? I mean, and again, that goes back to BitConnect. If nobody sold for BitConnect, it could have recovered and retained value. Not as much, but it could have recovered, retained value, and eventually build back up. But there was a little scare. I think there was a scare, and the government shut it down or something like that. It came in. I forgot. I don't know exactly what happened, but people got so scared that everybody pulled out their money. And when everybody sells, more people sell, and then they sell, the price goes down. And
just cascades.
Yeah. So
and that's what's so cool about the design of the project that we have, because like we're kind of in this for 15 years together. You know what I mean? Like, it's people can sell, but guess what? We're gonna get, our stakes are gonna be coming back, etc. And there's always gonna be people wanting to incentivize to be putting in liquidity. And so it's like this system is designed so much better. But your point is well made in the sense that if people would have just held, but there really wasn't a mechanism to do that. It relied on people trusting themselves. And clearly when it comes to emotion and that's why trading is not the best thing, because so many people can't separate emotion from their trades. Right. And this system allows you to do that.
And with trading has taught me that, you know, it kind of gave me an insight of the pinnacle of my greed, because I had something good. You know, I had something good. I had over $1 million, you know.
Yeah.
I could have sold, I could have retired. I mean, it was more than $1 million, it was multi, right?
Yeah. Right.
And instead I was like, no, I need more. I need more.
Right. Yeah.
Why can't I make an extra 10% in 10 days, right?
Right.
And that's the thing, that like, you don't want to go down that route, because you're playing against chances and you're going to lose. Just like Richard Hart says, you're going to lose. It's like going to the casino and being like, no, I think I can win. It's like, you know, you walk through, you're like, these idiots, of course they're not going to win. But with trading, it seems like it's something that is more like, I don't know, it's real, like it's more attainable. And then that money can come so quick and leave so quickly. It's anybody watching, man, just buy your coins, hold the right ones, and then sell in 10 years maybe, you know.
Dude, I think that's excellent advice, man. Dude, we're at the top of the hour, man. So I want to end on that note, man. And I want to, dude, I think we need to get I know I wasn't born in Holland, but dude, I can still be a Dutch brother, bro. We got to get the Dutch brothers back on, bro. You know what I mean? We got to do it, man.
There's so much to talk about, and
exactly.
But I look forward to seeing you in September for sure.
Yeah, exactly. In just a few months, man. And again, for those that weren't here at the beginning, we got 5 people watching right now, which is really cool for an unscheduled stream. Like, very cool. I appreciate everyone in here. And Balliet Brand, thanks for the comment, man. And like, yeah, I mean, like I gotta meet him in person. So I know that a lot of us meet each other through the internet, etc. I met him straight up in person at the conference. This dude's like 6'15". I'm a tall dude, and this is a tall drink of water right here. This is the tall gentleman. And 6'6", right?
6'9", you know, 6'8", 6'9".
6'8", 6'9". Yeah, exactly. 6'6". Yeah, exactly. See, I'm about 6'3", so that makes me feel better. When if it was 6'6", I was like, dang, I'm feeling really short. But yeah, it's a tall boy. And anyway, but we got to meet in person, and man, we had such a good time, man. We vibed from the moment we met each other. We got to meet some cool people. We got to go to the mansion party, Nagabo's mansion party. Amazing. We got to hang out. We got to have a good time. And then yeah, this guy was gonna fly me home. And now we're gonna be catching a flight here shortly. Next time, dude, I'm in.
It's a small plane, 4 seaters, and you know, a little bit of wind causes the plane to kind of like go up and down. You got to be you know, you got to just be able to endure that. But
dude, it's the same thing as volatility, bro.
It's the same as a crypto market, right?
That's not it. Yes, volatility. Exactly.
You got to be able to stomach all that.
Exactly, man. Otherwise, you don't belong on that plane, bro.
There you go. That's the true test.
Hell yeah, man. But dude, hey, thanks so much for popping on, man. I know we did this kind of last minute, but dude, so much more to talk about. And and I think it'd be fun to get you on, depending on your schedule, some of these other streams on some of these other channels where there's like we got like a cool panel that's going on, because I know you have a lot of wisdom that can lend to those. And so yeah, I look forward to doing this hopefully a couple more times before we hit Vegas.
And thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Again, shout out to the Flying Dutchman himself.
Yes, sir.
And let's just hear real quick from the man.
Thanks, Hexus Man World.
Hey, Richard, you're welcome, buddy. Anytime. So,
all
right, man. With that one, we're out. We'll catch you next time.
Later.